The following is a paid program. Talk 103.7 WTIP and Cable Channel 7 welcome you into Financially Speaking with Jim Taunton. Find us live on radio, TV, the IPX Media app, and on YouTube. Just search Financially Speaking NC or get the link at WTIPFM.com. The opinions expressed in this show are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial, or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities and investment advisory services are offered through Genois Wealth Management Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Now, here's your host for Financially Speaking, certified financial advisor, Jim Taunton.
Hello and welcome to Financially Speaking. Jim Taunton here, your host for the next 30 minutes. Glad you joined me. Hope you'll be glad when it's all said and done as well. We're getting a little rain, by the way. We've had quite a bit of rain. We're definitely not in a drought any longer, which is a good thing. But, enough with the rain for a couple of weeks would be nice. I've got some good information for you I've put together. But again, as always, I'd much rather talk to you about something that you feel is important to you personally and pertinent to your personal well-being or knowledge base. So give me a call and I'll take your question and hopefully give you a good answer. If you call with a question, your name goes into the drawing for the dinner for two at Atavola. I'll even pay the tip, as always. The number here is 561-TALK, 561-8255. Of course, area code is 252, 561-8255. We're going to go to about a 2-minute break, and if you call during that 2 minutes, I'll take your call first when we come back. We've had some great callers the last 3 programs or so I hope it continues. Talk to you in a couple minutes.
Aiden Golf and Country Club invites you to become a member. Come tour our beautiful clubhouse, ballroom, and facilities. For a quality golf experience, sign up for our discounted special membership rates, low monthly dues with no quarterly food minimum or assessments. Folks love to play golf at Aiden Golf and Country Club. Cool off at the pool all summer. Enjoy excellent food and beverages from the snack bar. Even store your own cart, unless you like to walk. Call 746-3389 for special limited membership rates at the Aiden Golf and Country Club.
My practice has been built on accessibility, responsiveness, and a willingness to be proactive for my clients. I'm not afraid to make recommendations relating to your investments and planning. I do hope all of your financial decisions are good ones, but let's not rely on hope. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Jim has attained 3 professional designations: Certified Financial Planner, Chartered Life Underwriter, and Chartered Financial Consultant, which entails 20 courses of study with examinations and a comprehensive national board exam, administered by the Certified Financial Planning Board. Jim has been practicing in financial services since 1979, which includes investing, planning, and insurance to help you meet your financial goals. Among the many awards Jim has received in his career is his selection to the Guide of the Top Financial Planners by the Consumer Research Council of America. So if you want to work with someone who is working for you, call Jim at 756-4700 or email him at planning@financiallyspeaking.com. That's 756-4700 and planning@financiallyspeaking.com.
Welcome back to Financially Speaking. I haven't gotten a notification from the producer, so I assume we have no callers. Call me anytime. Interrupt the monologue, please. 561-TALK, 561-8255, and your name goes into the drawing for the dinner for two at Atavola. I'll even pay the tip. Atavola is a great place to eat, by the way, lunch or dinner. So there you have that. All right. I'm going to finish up something I started actually a couple of weeks ago, and then I've got some new information to impart. But let's talk about the differences in the 2 candidates for president. And I think all of you know how I feel. We don't really have a candidate that I get real excited about, to be honest with you. But there are definitely differences in the platforms of the candidates and the parties But let's talk about some specifics. Harris wants to raise taxes on the wealthy and big companies. And Trump wants to either lower or keep the taxes the same. And she wants to raise taxes because of wanting a wider social safety net. You know what I hear when I hear wider social safety net? More entitlements, higher taxes. It's just that simple. Let's see. Elon Musk has actually settled firmly behind Trump, and what I'm hearing here and reading in this information is that he would have Musk go through and find regulations to scrap. And that would be interesting to see what he came up with. But lower regulations definitely leads to more business, which definitely leads to higher GDP. And one of the only ways that we're ever going to have at least a lower deficit, and if we don't ever have a positive budget, we're never going to pay down the debt. It's just not going to happen. But higher GDP, higher growth creates higher taxes without a higher tax rate, and that's supply side economics essentially. The other side calls it voodoo economics, but it has worked in the past. Harris has said she wants to crack down on price gouging. This alarms economists who are opposed to the notion of price controls, because that just never works when the government comes in and says, this is what you can charge for a product. That's never turned out well. Both Harris and Trump have proposed building more homes to lower housing cost, but also Harris wants to give everyone. This is so flabbergasting. It's like we just print the money, it's there. She wants to give $25,000 to some first-time home buyers to help them purchase property. What in the world? I don't understand. Both Harris and Trump are opposed to the $15 billion takeover of U.S. Steel by Japan's Nippon Steel. That's interesting. They actually agree on something. How about that? Trump would go much further on tariffs than he did when he was in office the first time. And I don't know if that's a good idea. Protectionism over time and to a greater degree has never worked well. They act as a negative supply shock to the economy. We know what reduction in supply does. We've seen that as a result of COVID. Matter of fact, economists from Goldman Sachs say that for every percentage point rise in tariffs, that would increase inflation by 0.1%. So if we increase tariffs by 10%, that would be a 1% increase in inflation. 20% would be a 2% increase in inflation. That's not good. Of course, they don't really know for certain, but that's what they're putting into their equation. So there you go. Both candidates' proposed plans would increase deficits. Now, anybody who thinks that either candidate's going to get everything they want or even half of what they want, they're mistaken. Right now, it appears like the Senate is going to go Republican, the House Democratic, and Oval Office is up for grabs. But if we have a split government, which is absolutely what we want a split government, okay? We don't want either side to control both houses of Congress and the Oval Office. I think that would be a recipe for disaster. But anyway, maybe that'll give you some idea. Now, let's move on. Something that may be more relevant to you. And by the way, call me, please, anytime. Interrupt the monologue, 561-TALK, 561-8255. Love to talk to you about something you think is important to you. And your name goes into the drawing for the Denver Tavola. We met with, actually, my oldest son and I met with a client today who was referred to me by clients, but also had been listening to this program, I believe he said, for some time. So I appreciate that very much. So anytime I hear those things, but call me. Call me. Call me. All right, RMDs. This time of year, people start thinking about their required minimum distributions, which is required by the government. And the sole purpose for the required minimum distributions is so they can tax your money. They don't want you to hold it in an IRA, a non-taxed IRA, until you die, and then your children get to spread out the taxation over 10 years. They want to start taxing money right now. Sole purpose of RMDs. But it has to be done, and there is a 50% penalty for the amount of money you don't take out that you should have. So it's just on the amount that you should have taken out that you did not. So if your RMD was $10,000 and you took out $9,000, you'd only pay 50% penalty on the $1,000. But still, a lot. So we calculate RMDs for our clients automatically. We do it every year. It's different every year because a required minimum distribution is a calculation that's based upon your December 31st account value divided by the life expectancy you've attained to that year. Your life expectancy goes down each year. Your account value changes every year. So that's why the RMD is different every year. And you can, you may have 5 IRAs with different financial institutions, but you can actually make a withdrawal from one account to cover the RMDs from all the accounts if you so choose, which does make it simpler. And again, we'll calculate that for you. That's what we do. But you need to start considering that and meeting with your financial advisor or investment advisor about taking your RMDs. Because if you get too close to the end of the year, sometimes firms are so busy that they can't get the withdrawal done in time, and then you're sunk. So, and that's for my clients too. Get with your, if you're not on an automatic RMD deal, get with your financial advisor, in October or November. Don't wait till December to try to get that done. But you need to do it because it can be costly if you don't. Heard, totally different subject. Heard from a money manager today. Actually, it was David Tepper, a name that will live in infamy for Carolina Panther fans. He's the owner of the Carolina Panthers. And the Carolina Panthers have been just horrendous ever since he bought them. Don't know if it's his fault, but I'm just telling you there's a correlation there between David Tepper ownership of the Panthers and how bad they have been. But he's a great money manager. He's probably one of the better money managers of our time. I mean, he's close to being up there with Warren Buffett, but he's brilliant. His returns beat almost everybody. And he is very bullish on China right now because China just this week announced some moves that they were making to spur their GDP growth. And of course, everything's controlled essentially by the government. So when they make a move, they can make big moves. And they did. And David Tepper said that China has very low price to earnings ratios. Their stocks have very low price to earnings ratios and very high growth prospects. He said there are a lot of stocks in China, big name stocks that have PEs of 1, for example. Whereas, a lot of our growth companies have PEs of 30 to 35. So very cheap stocks with very high growth potential. So he's investing a lot of money in China presently. The problem with him is his hedge fund has a minimum of $5 million. So if you don't have $5 million in cold hard cash sitting around, then you're out of luck with David Tepper. So you would have to use a China ETF or a China mutual fund or an Asia fund, that kind of thing. And there are plenty of those. Matthews has an Asia fund. So you may want to talk to your advisor about that as well, maybe increasing by a little bit your exposure to China. It hasn't been good in recent history, but David Tepper says now's the time, and he's a very smart guy. All right, pensions. I tell you what, we're halfway the program. We're going to talk about pensions after the break, but man, I need a call because I'm zinging right through the subject matter. I need a call. I need a couple of calls, actually. So call me with your financially related question, and we'll take your call during the break, and I'll speak with you after the break. We've had some great calls on the program again recently, as I said. The number is 561-TALK, 561-8255. Call with your question, and your name goes into the drawing for the dinner for Durante Vola. I'll even pay the tip, and we'll talk to you in a couple of minutes.
Aiden Golf and Country Club invites you to become a member. Come tour our beautiful clubhouse, ballroom, and facilities. For a quality golf experience, sign up for our discounted special membership rates, low monthly dues with no quarterly food minimum or assessments. Folks love to play golf at Aiden Golf and Country Club. Cool off at the pool all summer. Enjoy excellent food and beverages from the snack bar. Even store your own cart, unless you like to walk. Call 746-3389 for special limited membership rates at the Aiden Golf and Country Club.
My practice has been built on accessibility, responsiveness, and a willingness to be proactive for my clients. I'm not afraid to make recommendations relating to your investments and planning. I do hope all of your financial decisions are good ones, but let's not rely on hope. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Jim has attained 3 professional designations: Certified Financial Planner, Chartered Life Underwriter, and Chartered Financial Consultant, which entails 20 courses of study with examinations and a comprehensive national board exam, administered by the Certified Financial Planning Board. Jim has been practicing in financial services since 1979, which includes investing, planning, and insurance to help you meet your financial goals. Among the many awards Jim has received in his career is his selection to the Guide of the Top Financial Planners by the Consumer Research Council of America. So if you want to work with someone who is working for you, call Jim at 756-4700 or email him at planning@financiallyspeaking.com. That's 756-4700 and planning@financiallyspeaking.com.
Welcome back to Financially Speaking. And no notification from the producer. Let me take a quick look. Nope, nothing. That's bad. And it's bad weather outside. Why aren't you listening to the program or watching on YouTube and give me a call? Come on, give me a break. Do me a solid and give me a call. 561-TALK, 561-8255. All right, pensions. Now, let me preface by saying pensions are becoming like the dodo bird, rare indeed. Companies are getting out of the pension business if they're not unionized, because labor unions force them to keep the pensions, and it's what's running General Motors and some other large companies into the ground, to be honest with you. The unions have forced their hand and forced them to create such large pensions for employees, and all these future obligations have to be reserved for, and it creates a huge strain on on the income profits of the corporation. But the difference between a pension and like a 401k. 401k is a defined contribution plan. Employees make contributions. Sometimes it's matching from the employers. It's invested, and what the employee gets is what they get based on market returns. Pensions are defined benefit plans. So what's written in stone essentially is what you're going to get in income later when you retire based on your age, your average salary, and some factor they apply. It's a calculation. It's not real money. There's no real lump sum there typically. There can be, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. I have had a number of clients come in the last few weeks with pensions that allowed for a lump sum distribution. Now, why would a company do that? Wouldn't it be better for them just to pay it out over months? Not necessarily. If they're offering you lump sum, they're trying to get out of paying you a monthly amount for the rest of your life. That's what they're trying to do. And when clients come to me and provide me the information on their pensions, we look at the amount of income that they'll give them compared to the lump sum, the percentage of payout, the percentage of income payout that is based on the lump sum they could take. And that tells us which direction to go, essentially. My producer says I have a caller, which is a wonderful thing. They've saved me from my monologue, and I didn't see a name. Did you see a? Hold on a second. Let me make sure I've got a name there. Jeff. Jeff, you're on the air. Go right ahead with your question.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, it's Jeff. How you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Good, good. Haven't talked to you in a while. To your show a bit. Just
it has been.
Call, but I made one. I got a question for you and see what you think.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm retired and been retired for 3 or 4 years, and my portfolio that I have presently, if you look at it, I have basically two. I've got like 6 IRAs, and 2 of them are the most significant. They attribute to the vast majority of what my portfolio consists of. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the total pie chart of my portfolio, it's like presently it's 68% equities, and then goes down from there.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm concerned a little bit about is, and I want to get your opinion on this, that 68% at where I am right now, having been retired and 70 years old, what is that too much? Do you think that's too much to have? Now, I will say that one of the accounts on the IRA account is primarily made up of, well, it's all made up of dividend stocks. The big boys, all the big boys, and it's a dividend stock. So I love those dividend stocks because every month, stock prices change, but dividends don't. So
right. Exactly. Typically,
and
they can.
The other account is composed of 6 or 7 ETFs, and then I've countered it by having some fixed in, some bonds stuff in there, and that sort of thing. But what do you think? What's your opinion on what I told you?
Let me ask you a couple more questions. What would you say approximately your total value of those 6 IRAs is?
Oh, the 6 IRAs, it's about It's about $600,000.
All right. You're drawing income off this money presently?
On occasion, I basically my cash flow for my monthly stuff is coming from Social Security, pensions, and a couple of annuities. So I basically get my monthly cash flow from that, and I do not pull anything from that from those accounts. except on
Okay.
occasion. I need something here, I need something there, I do that.
All right.
That's what I do. So it's
Yeah, it sounds like then you can be very selective with this money since you're not drawing on it.
right,
Um,
right.
and
Here's
I
another
assume you
thing
have a
that
financial advisor, or are you managing it yourself?
no, I do have one. I've had him for a while, and so he assists on this, and that one particular account that I have, this which is it's a DSIP account. I don't know if that doesn't mean anything to you necessarily, but that one with all the dividend stocks, it's a very
Yes.
regimented portfolio whereby they've got to meet criteria. The companies the stocks that I have,
Hmm.
they got to meet criteria. If they don't, then they go out, and then they pull another company in to replace it, a dividend-paying stock. That's how that works.
Hmm.
So it's
Gotcha.
pretty regimented on that. It doesn't change, but so much
Right.
over the years.
Well, Jeff, I'm
changed
not
so much.
68% equity exposure does not frighten me, even at age
It
70,
doesn't.
because you need an inflation hedge of a return in your portfolio, which means you need to earn more than inflation, actually a certain percentage above inflation to actually have growth in your purchasing power. So, if inflation is at 2.5, then you need at least 6.5% growth total net of all expenses of the portfolio management, and you can't do that and not have some equity exposure. And you have
Yeah.
68%. I'm not, I don't see what you're owning, but I'm not afraid of that in general at your age, as
Well,
long
the
as there
ones I
is.
own are the big boys. What I'm saying when
Yeah,
I say big boys,
sure, and that's even better. And long as you have, as long as you have oversight, and it sounds like you have oversight, and it sounds like you're an informed investor as well. So you watch and you look and learn. I'm sure you can make a call and you say, "Hey, let's get together and talk about it. I'm getting scared of the market and get out." But typically that's not the right thing to do, but it can be at times. But I'm not afraid of that at all at your age.
Well, you know what concerns me? That old 60-40 rule that's really, I don't think, applicable anymore, whereby
It doesn't apply to anybody.
And it doesn't apply. And what really concerns me, Jim, is if a certain candidate gets into office and another candidate does not. In other words, if Kamala Harris gets into office, I'm really concerned about what could happen.
I've talked about that on the program a lot in the last.
But if
I've talked about that a lot in the last couple of months, and because I'm conservative. A lot of my clients tend to lean that direction, and when they come in, they say the same sorts of. I had a client in today actually that a potential client, prospective client, and said the same thing. And I said, look, my job is to remove your emotion and your political leanings from our long-term investment strategy, because politics is not going to alter long-term the market averages and the economy. It just never has. The color of the oval, whether it be blue or red, will not ultimately affect your long-term investment strategy. It shouldn't.
Right.
So I would really not be concerned about that.
Well, what does impact it is my age, and I don't have years to recover.
Yeah, sequence of returns is what you need to be concerned about. Yeah, you're right.
And I make sure that maybe I'm not overexposed. That's my main question.
Jeff, if you need a second opinion, just let's get together, and I'll be glad to look and give you an opinion, no obligation or cost. I've got music in my ear. I mean, I'm out of time, Jeff. I'm up against a hard end to the program.
Sorry, I chewed up all your rest of your time.
I know you. I love for you to chew up all my time. It's great. Thanks for the call, and you're in the drawing. I trust. But as always, this is Jim Taunton helping you make all of your financial decisions good ones. Good night, everybody.